7 o'clock Eastern tip-off, we have Boston taking on Cleveland. And like I said, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Cleveland. The Celtics open the betting as the 6-point favorite. Total open 216.5, and since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing movement upward on the spread and downward on the total. -6.5 and 216. So once again, Boston opened 6 up to -6.5. Total open 216.5 down to 216 even. Right now the Cavaliers are plus 210 on the money line. Now when it comes to the injury report, we have Al Horford, Brown, and Tatum all listed as questionable for the Celtics. And Kyrie Irving is out tonight. He will not be playing. Now on the Cleveland side, Dellavedova's out indefinitely with a concussion. He's in and out of games all the time. The guy, I don't know how he's in the NBA. Dellavedova and TJ McConnell for the Sixers. How are those guys in the NBA? But anyway, Cleveland, regardless of Dellavedova's big loss here with his head injury, they're still 4-1 against the number in their last 5. They rank 9th in home defensive rebounding. Meanwhile, on the Boston side, they've lost their last 4 straight. They're also just 2-7 against the number in their last 9. And they rank 24th in the NBA in road offensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Boston is 6-2 to the over in their last 8. Cleveland 3-2 to the over in their last 5. I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. I'm also going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take Cleveland plus 7 and the over 216 in that matchup there. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and just welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Tuesday's NBA, college basketball, and NHL action. Of course, college basketball, we're covering the NIT today. But anyway, before we go ahead and move on, just want to quickly remind you to check out my website at patreon.com/BrockPage if you're looking for more content. There's plenty of free content on that website. It is patreon.com/BrockPage. Link is in the description section below. If you want to check that out, all you got to do is open up the description section and click the link. It'll take you right to it. And of course, if you are a current patron of mine and you are watching me right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. All right, let's go ahead and hop right back into some more lines of personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Spurs, Hornets, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Charlotte. The Spurs open -3 on the road here. Total open 220.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing movement upward on the spread. Money on San Antonio. We're also seeing money toward the under in this one. Line moving downward on the total. We're looking at 3.5 and 220. So once again, San Antonio open -3 up to -3.5. Total open 220.5 down to 220 even. 60% is leaning towards San Antonio. And at the moment, Charlotte is plus 135 on the money line. Now, Charlotte has a whole bunch of guys on that injury list. We have Parker Batum and Kid Gilchrist all listed as questionable for tonight's action. And Cody Zeller is out with a knee. Now, Charlotte, although they have a bunch of guys on that report, I'm pretty optimistic that at least 2 out of those 3 guys are going to play. Obviously, Zeller not. But out of Parker Batum and Kid Gilchrist, I think 2 out of those 3 guys will play, maybe all 3 of them. And if that is the case, I'm going to cap this game as if they're all in the action. Charlotte's 3-0 straight up in their last 3. They're also 4-2 against the number in their last 6. They rank 3rd in home free throw percentage at 81%. So if they can get to the line, they're going to accumulate a lot of scoring from the stripe. Charlotte's also 10-5 against the spread at the current number, and they're covering 62% of their games as the official home underdog. And one more thing to note, Charlotte ranks 8th in defending the 3-ball at home. That's very important, because San Antonio's been hot shooting the 3-ball this year. Now, San Antonio's dropped 2 out of their last 3 straight up. They've also failed to cover in 2 out of those 3 games. They've won just 14 out of 37 away from home this year. The Spurs are also just 9-13 against the number, taking on teams between 450 and 550. That's a win percentage, of course. San Antonio also ranks 20th in road scoring and 26th in road three-point shooting. So as good as they've been shooting the 3-ball, not so good shooting the 3-ball on the road when traveling. Now, total-wise, Charlotte 2-0 to the over in their last couple of games, 5-3 to the over in their last 8. I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. I'm also going to purchase the hook, buy it up, and take Charlotte +4 in the over, 220 in that matchup there. Next game, Bulls, Raptors, 7:30 tip-off in Toronto. The Raptors open the betting as the hefty 14-point favorites, total at 222. And since those markets opened this one up, no real surprises here as we're seeing movement downward on the spread and downward on the total as well. 13.5 and 220. So once again, Toronto opened 14 down to -13.5. Total open 222 down to 220 even. Right now the Bulls are +735 on the money line. Now Porter and Levine are out for Chicago tonight, and Chris Dunn is listed as doubtful. Meanwhile, if you didn't know, Valentine, Hutchison, and Carter are all out for the season for the Bulls as well. Now Chicago's dropped 7 out of their last 10 straight up. They've also won just 12 out of their last 37 away from home. They're 18 and 50 straight up as the underdog this year, and they rank 27th in offensive scoring. Now, when it comes to the total, Chicago is 6-2 to the over in their last 8. Meanwhile, Toronto 8-1 to the over in their last 9. So I'm going to lay all those points. Hefty lay here. I'm also going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take Toronto -13 in the over, 220 in that matchup there. Next game, Magic Heat, 7:30 Eastern tip-off in South Beach. Miami open -5, total 206. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing movement upward on the spread and downward on the total. Right now, Miami's 5.5, total 205. So once again, the Heat open -5, up to -5.5, total open 206, down to 205 even. 53% leaning toward Miami. And at the moment, the Magic are +180 on the money line, coming off a big win last night. Now, Justice Winslow is questionable for the Heat. Gruder is listed as out for Miami tonight. The Heat also ranks dead last in free throw percentage. So if you're Orlando, put them to the line. Miami also ranks 27th in home offensive scoring. Miami's covered just 9 out of 26 games as the official home favorite. They're also covering just 37% of their games at the current point spread. And one more final thing about Miami, they rank 27th in home offensive field goal percentage. They're shooting just 44% in that category there. Now, total-wise, Miami's 3-1 to the over in their last 4. Orlando, 60% to the over in their games played at the current posted total. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this matchup here. I'm also going to purchase the hook, slide it up, and take Orlando +6 and the over 205 in that matchup there. Next game, Hawks, Pelicans, 8 o'clock tip-off in New Orleans. A good friend of mine got murdered in New Orleans recently, by the way. I know that's very morbid, but a couple weeks ago. If you look it up, it'll probably come right up on your phone. But yeah, very bizarre, very unexpected. But anyway, morbid. Let's get back on track. Hawks at the Pelicans, 8 o'clock. Nothing funny about it, but Hawks at the Pelicans, 8 o'clock tip-off in New Orleans. The Pels open 1.5, total 239.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing a fade of New Orleans at home, but we're seeing movement upward on the total. And as a matter of fact, the spread's now at -1. Total moved up to 240. So once again, the Pels open 1.5 down to -1. Total open 239.5 up to 240. 51% are leaning New Orleans. 77% shaded toward the under. Right now, Atlanta's +101 on the money line. Now, the Pelicans have Elfrid Payton and Anthony Davis both listed as questionable for tonight's action. Now, I'm very optimistic that they will be playing, and I'm going to cap this game as if they are both going to be in the lineup. Now, New Orleans, they rank 3rd in offensive scoring, averaging 115.4 points per contest. Meanwhile, New Orleans still ranks 5th in offensive field goal percentage, shooting 47.3% in that category there as well. They also rank 5th in offensive rebounding. Now, Atlanta on their side of things, well, they've been winners in just 4 out of their last 10 straight up. They also rank dead last in points allowed. They're giving up 119 points per contest in that category there. The Hawks are 26th in road field goal percentage. And one more thing to add about the Hawks, they've won just 11 out of 20. Atlanta's won just 11 out of 37 away from home. They're also just 23 and 44 straight up as the underdog. Now, total-wise, Atlanta is 2-2 to the under in their last 4. New Orleans 2-0 to the under in their last couple of games. Give me the Pels -1, getting the job done at home, and the under 240 in that matchup there. Next game, Rockets, Bucks, 8 o'clock tip-off in Milwaukee. The Bucks open 4.5, total 227. No real surprises here as we're seeing movement downward on the spread and the total. Milwaukee's down to -4, total 226.5. So once again, the Bucks open 4.5, down to -4, total open 227, down to 226.5. 55% are leaning Houston, 67% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Rockets are +145 on the money line. Gerald Green is out tonight for the Rockets, and Eric Gordon is listed as questionable. Now on the Milwaukee side, Mirotic and Brogdon still out indefinitely, if you didn't know that. Milwaukee does rank 17th in three-point shooting on average. They're also ranking 16th in defending the three ball, and they're covering just 46% of their games at the current number. And if you're into historical trends, Milwaukee's just 3-7 straight up in their last 10 taking on Houston. Now, speaking of the Rockets, they've successfully covered the number in 4 out of their last 5. They're also 8-2 straight up in their last 10. The Rockets cover 63% as the dog, 67% at the current point spread. They're 18-10 against the number, taking on teams over 550. Now, total-wise, Houston is just 15-22 to the over on the road. Meanwhile, Milwaukee 3-1 to the under in their last 4. I'm going to lean toward another road dog in this one. Give me Houston +4 and the under 226.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Clippers, Timberwolves. 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Minnesota. The Clips open 1.5, total 231.5. We're seeing movement upward on the spread and downward on the total. Clippers -2.5, total 231. So once again, Los Angeles open -1.5 up to -2.5. Total open 231 and a hook, down to 231 flat. 67% are leaning Clippers, 64% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Minnesota plus $1.15 on the money line. Now, Landry Shamet is questionable with an ankle injury for Los Angeles. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, Taj Gibson listed as questionable. We're looking at a Minnesota team who ranks 10th in free throw percentage. So if you foul them, they're going to make you pay. Minnesota's also ranking 10th in home offensive rebounding, and they are 23-11 straight up on their home court. One more thing to add, they are covering 64% of their games as the official home underdog. Now, the Clippers are on the other side. They failed to cover in 4 out of their last 6. They also rank 23rd in points allowed, and they rank 21st in defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Minnesota is 5-0 to the under in their last 5. So, I made the case for Minnesota here. Yeah, I'm going to lean Minnesota +3 after buying the half a point, getting the job done as the dog at home, and the under 231 in that matchup there. All right, next game. It's blank. Glitch. Sacramento taking on Dallas. 8:30 Eastern tip-off in Dallas. The Kings open 1.5, total 224. We're seeing a slight fade of the Kings in the early going here, but we are seeing significant movement upward on the total. That moved up to 226.5, spread at 1. So once again, Sacramento open 1.5, down to -1. Total open 224, up to 226 and a hook. Right now, the Mavs are -101 on the money line. Here's the big thing about this game. Luka Doncic is listed as questionable with a knee injury, game time decision. Dallas is 2-8 straight up in their last 10. I'm probably going to cap this one as if he's not playing. They also rank 26th in offensive field goal percentage. Now, the Mavericks have won just 13 out of 47 straight up as the underdog. And they failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10, taking on Sacramento if you're into historical trends. Now, the Kings on their side of things, they rank 6th in road scoring on average. They also rank 4th in three-point shooting away from home and 3rd in defending the three ball on the road as well. When it comes to the total, Sacramento's 4-1 to the under in their last 5. Dallas 5-3 to the under in their last 8. I'm going to lean Sacramento Kings -1 and the under 226.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Pistons, Nuggets. That is going to be a 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in the Mile High City. Denver opened 6.5, total 212. No movement on the total as of yet, seeing pretty good two-way action on that spread. We did see a slight move downward on the total, down to 211.5. So once again, Denver is 6.5, total open 212, down to 211 and a hook. 68% are leaning Denver, and at the moment, Detroit is plus 245 on the money line. The Pistons are just 3-5 straight up in their last 8. They've won just 14 out of 37 away from home this year. They're also 12-16 against the number as the official road underdog. Detroit ranks 28th in field goal percentage at just 44% in that category there. They also rank 27th in defensive field goal percentage, 47.3% in that category there. Now, total-wise, Detroit is 4-1 to the over in their last 5. I'm going to lean Denver -6 after buying the hook, and the over 211.5 in that matchup there. Next and final game for the show, it is going to be Wizards-Lakers, 10:30 Eastern tip-off at the Staples Center. This one opened up as a pick'em contest, total at 232.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing the Lakers take a good amount of money in the early going here. And as a matter of fact, they're now -2. Total moved up to 233. So once again, the Lakers open as a pick, now -2. Total open 232.5 up to 233. 66% are leaning Lakers, 57% shaded toward the under. Right now, Washington's plus 105 on the money line. Trevor Ariza is listed as doubtful for the Wizards. Meanwhile, for the Lakers, Bullock and Muscala are questionable, and Hart is listed as out. The Lakers dropped 8 out of their last 10 straight up. They're also just 2-8 against the number in that same category. They rank second to last in three-point shooting and second to last in defensive rebounding at home. A couple more things to add about Los Angeles. They're covering just 37% of their games at the Staples Center. They're also covering just 39% of their games when laying the points. And they've covered just 7 out of 25 games, taking on teams under 450. Now, on the Washington side of things, they're 6-4 against the spread in their last 10. They rank 7th in offensive scoring and 9th in offensive field goal percentage. Now, when it comes to the scoring, Washington is 60% to the under in their last 10. The Lakers 70% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean Washington +2 in the under 233 in that matchup there. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. Thank you for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And as always, don't forget to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage.